Hi, this is Jake and Katie Arnold with the Family Collective, and we're here today to talk a little bit about
Our first year of marriage.
how we prepared and how it went. Maybe some tips and tricks for couples out there who are approaching the marriage subject and want to be successful.
Yeah. Well, I think we should maybe give them a little bit of background of our story.
Yeah.
So, Jake and I met on a missions trip in Mozambique, Africa in 2014. Our paths just kind of crossed and we both connected after we got home. We started talking and we dated long distance for 4 years before we got married. So, we learned a lot during our 4 years of dating. We really had to learn how to communicate effectively because that's really all we got to do was talk on the phone, Skype. We saw each other actually quite frequently for being long distance. I would say every 6 to 8 weeks we got to see each other. So.
Yeah. And the nice thing is that, my mom didn't have to pre-screen Katie because we met on the same missions trips. So
True.
we got the spiritual element covered.
True.
Which was good. But Katie, do you want to talk a little bit about some of our premarital counseling and how we went into that?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the first things when we got engaged was we decided that we wanted to have a really great first year of marriage. Growing up, all we ever heard was, oh my gosh, the first year of marriage sucks. It's so awful. Good luck. And we were just no. We're going to have a good first year of marriage. Little did we know all of the hard work that goes into preparing for a marriage. So one of the first things that we did was we kind of spilled our whole lives out to each other. And
I mean, there was really no secrets. I think carrying that kind of emotional baggage or any kind of secrets into the marriage is, it's basically setting yourself up to have a minefield where certain issues may be touchy and certain issues may draw an extreme emotional response and you never really know why unless you do the work ahead of time. I think to what Katie was saying, since we spent 4 years dating long distance, I was pretty certain I knew who Katie was at that point. I think the shotgun wedding style where you do 6 months and then go directly into marriage sometimes works, but I really don't feel like you have enough time to really see your significant other in every season. It's really hard to say that you know each other and that you're ready to take two separate beings and merge them into one.
Yeah.
So I think we should probably talk a little bit about some of the elements that we did beforehand in premarital counseling, talking about roles and responsibilities.
Yeah.
Talking about traditions, stuff that is really near and dear to your heart, but you don't really get to know that unless you share that with your spouse.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of corny, but I found this list on, I think it was on a blog, or maybe your mom gave us a list of different responsibilities, for man and wife in the household. And basically we just went through every single one and we both talked about who should take the trash out, who should do the dishes, who should do laundry, things that seem so small and menial, but I think growing up, both people come from very different backgrounds and have very different experiences. So what he saw his parents do may not be what my parents did. So we both had different expectations of what each person's role should be in the household. So as soon as we got engaged, we went through a list. It was probably a laundry list of 20 different things, and we both, agreed.
Laundry was on the list.
Laundry was on the list. And we both talked about who, our expectations for each other. And I think that really actually set us up for the first, few months of marriage. We already had an idea of who was going to be doing what. And that's not to say that I don't sometimes take on his roles or he takes on mine. We kind of just know when the other person needs some help. I have my bad days, he has his bad days, and we'll pick up where that person needs help. So,
and I think the other thing that I want to talk about that most couples struggle with at first is finances, because that's a really touchy subject for any couple. I mean, what was the means that you grew up by, and people have asked us this question, like, you know, did you have a physical budget? Yes.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
We still do.
Yeah, I don't see how people can adhere to a budget that doesn't actually exist on paper. Well, it's an Excel document, but you know. But yeah, of course. And to be honest, when Katie and I first got married, we were flat broke.
We were really broke. I think that was probably the hardest part about our first year of marriage was the financial aspect. Like, I had just graduated college, I had college debt. Jake had been working for a couple years at this point. But when I first moved here, I was applying for jobs. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I kind of just landed in something that I thought would kind of make some ends meet for a little while, but it was really challenging.
Yeah.
It was really challenging.
It was. And, you know, I look fondly on that season because we learned a lot about each other. Because, you know, when I struggle with finances, I immediately want to, like, crack down on something. And, like, you know, Katie has things that she still wants to do, you know? Like, it's hard to tell your wife that we don't have a budget for clothes for, like, 6 months. And, you know, that's the reality of where we were, is that there were certain things that we knew we could live without, and then there are certain things we knew that we couldn't live without. And I think we had just committed to living within our means.
Yes.
You know, one of the most dangerous things when you both get married is, you know, to that point I was saying earlier, if you don't have any secrets coming into marriage, you don't know if your partner is $40,000 into debt. And I was well aware of that, you know, that we had student debt coming into it. But I also wasn't hiding like a massive credit card debt.
Yeah. I think we both agreed that finances is one of the main causes for separation and divorce in marriages. And we just both went in agreeing like we were going to be on the same page with our finances. We may have disagreements, and that's okay, but we're going to meet somewhere in the middle. I guess another thing I wanted to add to that is we share the same bank account. So we know at all times what each person is spending money on, and that I think has helped us tremendously. It gives us every single week something to talk about when we get paychecks, what we're going to do with our money, and I think just overall has helped us become more united in our marriage.
And I think what's common in marriages is sometimes you get one person who's more aware of what's going on with the finances, and then someone who's not as aware. I was pretty intentional with Katie that I told her that, you know, you need to learn some of this personal financial stuff, because I don't want to be making the decisions for both of us without being able to involve you in it. So I think as Katie learned that, became really helpful that, you know, I can discuss, you know, hey, the interest rate on this credit card is really high. I think we should pay it down first. Yeah. Or, you know, hey, our auto loan, we can go into forbearance on it this month. So I think that kind of handles the financial aspect of what's difficult to understand. But I think overall, I would say, you know, if you fail to prepare for marriage, you're preparing to fail.
Yeah, that's so true.
Do the premarital counseling. Do the hard conversations first. It
will set you up for so much success and just a better transition into marriage.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for spending some time with us today. You know, we hope you've learned from us as much as we'll learn from our friends and family, and we hope that this will help you along on your journey.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.